This video is a replay of a trade I took today. Now, it probably goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway. I am not a financial advisor, and trading entails risk. Just because I got these results today doesn't mean that I can get these every day, nor that you can. Remember, the entire premise of the investing project and the $1 million experiment is that I am not an expert, and yet I am learning how to do this. So for heaven's sake, don't just blindly copy me. Instead, find a mentor, someone who is an expert, and join their community. Pay for their mentorship. This approach has worked very well for me, and it likely will for you too. So use this video partly as education and partly as inspiration. After all, if I can learn this, you can too. All right, today was a pretty good day. We had two trades that worked fairly nicely. We'll talk about the first one first, not surprisingly. We have, well, first of all, let's look at this. We've got both the NQ and the ES, both, well, all of the indexes having sold off a bit from their overnight highs. Most notably the Russell, the RTY or M2K for the micro, has pulled back probably the most. And I'll come back to that in a minute because it's something that's interesting. But what we have here is we have the ES that in this case I'm trading the MES. You can see it's had a whole bunch of 15-minute candles that are red, and we finally formed a nice, solid, pretty strong green 15-minute candle, and we're just about to form a green hourly candle. So this has got me interested in the ES. What I'm really interested in the background is this Russell, because it's pulled back the most. The thing I didn't like about the ES is that it's basing up in the middle of nowhere. It's sort of in the middle of this big breakout bar. There's no real reason to believe that there's a lot of strength here, although there very recently was. But it's not a great location, is really the point. I would much prefer that it would be basing up down here by the previous day's high. That would have been way more interesting to me. But it is what it is, and you got to take what you can get sometimes. So with this in mind, I actually did place a buy order at 73.46, which is right above this 15-minute candle. And in the meantime, I'm keeping an eye on this Russell, because at some point, if it can come back down here to the previous day high level and base up, close to it, or at least at the base of this breakout candle, then I'd be very interested in that as well. So let's zoom in on this, and we'll play it up, or play it forward a little bit. Let's just see what happens.
Filled.
All right, so we're filled at 73.46. I ended up taking 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3. So 7 extra handles just below this, so I can have. It's a bit more risk, but it puts the stop below the swing low. And I always like to give it an extra 3 on the ES below the swing low. So that means I'm taking 22 points of risk. Now what I have here is I have 2 contracts. What I generally think about when I'm dealing with pullbacks is it only owes me half. But in any case, it doesn't owe me anything. But I look at it this way: it only really owes me a retrace of half, and it's already part of the way there. So what I ended up doing is putting this first sell right at 10 points, so 73.56, and I put the second target at the previous high, so 73.66. That's where I ended up putting the targets, and so let's let this go, and we'll see how that does. Now, in the meantime, you don't have it on your screen, but I'll show it to you in a second. I'm keeping an eye on this Russell as well, because it's still heading lower, but I'm wanting to. Cause it's now okay. Actually, I'm going to zoom back out. You can now see, if I zoom in on the Russell, you can now see that it's gone down, and the low of day now is really in line with the base of that breakout. And so I'm very interested in this. So what I want now is the first green candle, so that I can figure out how to get in on this. So let's zoom out, and we can see everything that's going on here. And you can see now in the Russell, you can see it's starting to pull. We're starting to get a wick here, which is interesting. Okay, stop. So if I zoom in on this right now, we have our first green 15-minute candle with a nice long wick pulling off of the base of this breakout. That's a textbook what I'm looking for. And so I put a buy order in at 2871.1 is what I did. So 2870, I gave it a little extra room because I wanted it to be serious. I didn't want to just accidentally get it. So there we go. So we've now got both of these things placed. Now, it doesn't actually trade. The order itself doesn't place right away, but that's really where I want it and why I want it, because it has the most potential to do something interesting. At least go halfway. So that's what I'm thinking anyway.
Filled.
Now I'm in with the Russell,
Filled.
and I've just filled on the first of the targets on the ES, on the MES. So now I'm in on the Russell. For the Russell, I needed to extend this a little bit because the default 10 points, which is like 100 points because the Russell's in tenths, I actually pulled this down a ways. So I ended up taking like 13 total points of risk, so $130 of risk with these two contracts. And then this, this one doesn't matter. I end up trailing the stop on this, and that's how I ended up making the money. I'll talk about that as we go. But I'll just let the Russell do its thing now. And it takes a little bit. It's got to go back and forth before it actually makes its way into clearly positive territory. But I'm going to zoom in on the ES now, just because that's where the action's happening. So you can see it's now making its way up there.
It fell.
All right, so I'm filled. I'm out of the ES. It could have gone a little further, but not by much. And in retrospect, I mean, knowing what I know now, in retrospect, I could have, of course, placed both of these at the full 20-point mark instead of taking one at 10. But of course, that's hindsight. I didn't know that for sure at the time, and so fine. I ended up with 30 points on this trade, so $150. Fair enough. And now let's come back here and look at the Russell trade. In fact, I'm going to go and look at the 5-minute version of the Russell, because that is how I'm going to trail my stop. So let's look at this. So around this point, I'm already 7.3, which is like 73 points into profit. I have already started to trail this. So I moved, first of all, I moved this to break even, because after making 150 on the ES, I didn't want to risk being negative on this and giving anything back. But now I'm trailing this on the 5 minutes. So we had a new 5-minute bar open up, so I'm trailing that up. And I'll just keep zooming in on this so we can see what we're doing. And so this continues, and right around here, I moved up to the bottom there. And so we're getting up to, we're about a quarter of the way. And I think right around here, I moved up to right around there or so, 2881. So yeah, that's about right where I got it. In fact, I think what I did is I put this at 2881.1, just so it would be an even 100. And I think that's where I ended up getting stopped out. So let's just let this keep playing and we'll see what happens. But yeah, so it was right around there that I got stopped out. So I made an even $100 on that trade. So the 150 from the MES and the 100 from the M2K, and that's a nice little $250 day. And by the way, this puts us into, this fully fulfills our profit target for month 2. So from this point going forward for the rest of this month, and by the way, the month is not a calendar month. We're in week 8. We're in week 8. The first month had 5 weeks. The second month has 9 weeks, so we're halfway through week 8. So we got a week and a half to go. We've now met our target, so all subsequent trades are going to be in our alternative or simulation account, just so that we don't put our profits at risk. In any case, this was a good day. We pocketed $250 and happy to do it in this market.